I want to show you a strategy that combines the best aspects of technical analysis and the concept of smart money. I will demonstrate how to find a high probability profitable trade in such a constantly changing market. More than 30 people copy each of my intraday sessions. Let me explain why I am so confident in this trading system. I will present today's strategy based on the results of one of my recent intraday sessions. You can see the results on your screen. This is a post from my free Telegram channel through which you can join my strategy for copy trading. We will start with the first trade on the EUR/USD pair, but before we dive into that, let me explain the model we will be using for trading today. Today, I will use slop liquidity as a tool for making profitable and precise trades. What is slop liquidity? Let me illustrate this using a descending trend and draw a slope line along this downtrend. This will represent our slop liquidity, as a huge number of people tend to enter short positions when they see a downtrend and trend line. Consequently, we have a downward movement where a significant amount of stop loss orders from novice and when experienced traders accumulate off each high. All these stop loss orders are quickly liquidated after the price breaks through the trend line, either making a retest or simply breaking the structure, leading to a rapid upward movement that liquidates all those stop losses. Thus, we get a swift upward movement purely from these liquidations. It doesn't necessarily mean a new trend is starting. It could also just be a regular corrective movement up to halfway point according to Fibonacci. So we take half of the global downtrend or uptrend and trade. For example, up to 0.5 mark, using it as our target. Let's immediately look at the first trade on the EUR/USD pair. Slop liquidity often appears on our chart in standard patterns such as a falling wedge, which has an upper boundary and lower boundary. The upper boundary serves as our slop liquidity because there is a lot of liquidity behind each of these highs. Therefore, in case of breakout and initiation liquidation, the market will rise very quickly. We can enter the trade either here or by waiting for some retest of the broken line. This is quite a typical trade. I recommend aiming for 1.2 risking to reward ratios if you are a beginner trader. Suppose this trade is relatively risky. To mitigate that risk, I moved my stop loss to the zone. This zone is marked using LuxAlgo indicator, which is based on the Smart Money Concept. You can add it through the indicator panel by typing its name. Actually, this indicator highlights all the necessary zones very well. The problem for traders who trade technical patterns is that a falling client, like all other reversal figures, should only be traded in a specific location. Unfortunately, this trade could have been a great example for us, but it turned out that this trade literally resulted in the loss of as much as $508 in just 10 minutes. I left the data from the session in a post on my Telegram channel, so you can go there, log into this amount, and take a closer look at all the trades. Let's move on to the second trade from my recent intraday session. Here I noticed a certain pattern. We had a similar situation before on a more global scale. A slop liquidity zone formed here as well, with quite a few peaks where traders stop losses likely accumulated, and as a result, we got this instant upward movement. This figure, which resembles a wedge, is located right in the support zone. I won't highlight the entire support area, but it's an important area that could push our chart towards an upward movement. Let's observe it a bit here at the breakout and on the retest of any of these lines, whether you draw them by wicks or by candle bodies. It doesn't matter if you strictly follow your strategy. Here we could open a long position. I would place my stop here and set the take profit at the update of this local minimum. Let's see what happened with this trade. In just a few minutes, we hit our take profit and I made $665 on this trade, thus bringing my balance back above $1,000. This is an intraday session aimed at achieving 100 to 200% profit on my balance. I always start with $1,000, and unfortunately I lost half of it on the first trade. I had accounted for that in my risk, And just on the second trade, I recovered my initial balance and made a little profit. So before we move on to the analysis of the third trade, I'd like to boast a bit about the results of this copy trading account. It ends at 79.79. Let me quickly switch to my broker's website and show you the latest withdrawals. Here's the account. Let's click show, and this is the withdrawal of funds. As you can see, the last 12 or 11 operations, I honestly can't tell you how many are here, are all withdrawals. This is $1,197 in profit from the last session, and the number you see below is the profit from each session that I conduct regularly once a week in my Telegram channel. This is a public copy trading, so feel free to follow the link in the description and message me privately to copy all trades from this account. Now let's move on to the third situation, where you will definitely understand how I use the combination of smart money and technical analysis. Let's move on to the third trade, which became the final one in my intraday session, simply because my planned scenario worked out perfectly. Look, we can see a support level here. Of course, I rarely enter trades just based on level, but in this situation, the indicator notices a structural break. You can study smart money concepts from scratch on your own, or you can just use this indicator to understand what signifies and realize that we are currently witnessing a structural break. A huge number of traders are likely entering short positions right now because we broke the level. We turn to it, and theoretically, we have a breakout plus a retest. There's a lot of liquidity below, and I probably